where did the idea that pork is unhealthy actually come from? Well, certainly it started most likely from a religious context. Some of the biggest cultures in the world don't eat pork. Why is that? Well, pigs are not a dirty animal. They're actually an incredible smart animal. They're about as smart as a dog, maybe more so. But pigs in the past could be easily infected with a parasite called trichomonas. And trichomonas would infect pigs, and these parasites would be in their muscle tissue. And if you didn't cook pork completely, these parasites could survive and enter you. And a disease called trichomonas was an incredibly painful infection in your muscles that was really quite debilitating. So you are what you eat, and you are what the thing you're eating ate. Pigs in the past did have a lot of trichomonas. Now that's pretty much been eliminated in at least the Western culture, and pigs no longer test positive for trichomonas. So that's where the dirty idea came from. Are they dirty? Absolutely not. Okay, so what's the big problem with the other white meat? The big problem is a sugar molecule called Nu-5GC. Now, Nu-5GC is a sugar molecule that's found in the flesh of pork, beef, and lamb, but it's not in humans. Now, our bodies make a very similar sugar molecule called Nu-5AC. So what's the problem? As I wrote about in Gut Check, Nu-5AC is a sugar molecule that lines the wall of our gut, lines the wall of our blood vessels, lines the blood-brain barrier, and also lines our joint surfaces. Because Nu-5AC and Nu-5GC look so similar, when we eat Nu-5GC containing foods, we can easily substitute Nu-5GC for Nu-5AC in the lining of our gut, in our blood vessels, in our joints, and in our blood-brain barrier. So what? When we eat Nu-5GC, our immune system hates it, and it actually makes antibodies to Nu-5GC, viewing it as a foreign invader. In fact, we can take healthy human volunteers and have them eat Nu-5GC, and lo and behold, presto changeo, immediately they will make aggressive antibodies to Nu-5GC. The problem? Nu-5GC now sits on our gut wall, in our blood vessels, in our joints, and in our blood-brain barrier. And Nu-5GC is one of the leading causes of neuroinflammation. In fact, even animals that have Nu-5GC won't let it into their brain. So the big deal? Studies have linked Nu-5GC consumption to, you guessed it, increased inflammation, gut permeability, and cognitive decline. Nu-5GC actually accumulates in human tissues where it gets attacked by our immune system. The more Nu-5GC foods you eat, the more inflammation is produced because more of it gets incorporated into these linings. Long-term inflammation from Nu-5GC has been associated with diseases like arthritis, heart disease, and even cancer. In fact, cancer cells use Nu-5GC to promote local inflammation where they thrive under low oxygen levels. Since we don't make Nu-5GC, guess where the cancer cells get it? Because you eat it. So my advice, the less Nu-5GC foods you eat, the better. But here's the exciting news from Gut Check. The more Nu-5AC containing foods you eat, which is poultry, fish, and shellfish, the Nu-5GC is replaced from your joints, from your blood vessels, from your blood-brain barrier. Okay, so with that in mind, are there any pork options that are healthy? So if you love pork but want to avoid new 5GC, there's good news. Fermentation can actually help. So properly fermented pork, like Italian prosciutto, Parma ham, or 5J ham from Spain, and traditional European fermented sausages have virtually no new 5GC levels because beneficial bacteria actually eat this sugar molecule during the aging process. And that's why most of the famed blue zones actually eat a large amount of originally new 5G containing foods, like sausages, like milks, that have been fermented in the traditional preparation of sausage or with yogurt or cheeses, and the new 5GC is gone. Now, a good friend of mine, Chef Jimmy Schmidt, a 3 times James Beard award-winning chef, has recently developed a method to ferment pork and beef using specific probiotic cultures that actively eat and destroy new 5GC, making his meats far healthier than conventional options. So check out the episode on my YouTube channel or the audio version to find out more about this. Now, if you're looking for pork that won't overload your body with new 5GC, Jimmy's products at jrranchfoods.com are some of the best options available. Now, salami. Most of the salami you get in the United States is not made in a traditional way. Traditional salamis and other sausages are made by introducing bacteria into the sausage casing, and the bacteria ferment new 5GC. Now, most American manufacturers don't do that. It's too labor and time intensive. But some do. How do you know? So you look for the word lactic acid cultures on the label. If you see that, it's usually going to be fine. Just recently, a patient came in showing me a label that says lactic acid on the sausage that they had bought. It didn't say lactic acid cultures. So just because somebody added lactic acid has nothing to do with adding bacteria that are lactic acid bacteria. Remember, they're always going to try to fool you. So you're going to remember lactic acid, but what I want you to remember is lactic acid cultures. Don't be fooled. Are there other reasons that fermented pork sausages might be good, besides not having new 5GC? Well, actually, the fermentation process actually produces really cool compounds called polyamine that have been shown to improve your brain health and actually promote longevity. And it's the fermentation process of these sausages that actually produces these polyamines. More fun facts: prosciutto or Parma ham actually has living probiotic cultures. So say yes to prosciutto, but please look for the true prosciutto di Parma made in Italy. One of the reasons is really cool because these pigs are actually fed Parmesan cheese rinds to eat. Now, 5J ham from Spain is also a very special ham where the pigs are actually fed acorns. And then that ham is fermented, eliminating the new 5GC. Acorns are rich in omega-3 fats, and 5J ham is very, very rich in omega-3. And imagine that, eating a ham that's good for you because of the omega-3 content. Now, the downside of 5J ham is that it's incredibly expensive. We're beginning to see it in stores in small packages. I once had a patient from Spain who basically paid me in 5J ham. True story. If you're listening, I'd love to see you again and bring some 5J when you come. Be careful, though, it'll empty your wallet very quickly, but it's really great. So to summarize, pork is not the other white meat. It is not chicken. It is Nu5GC. Chicken is Nu5AC. Pork is not infected with trichinosis. In fact, there are a number of chefs that now serve pork pink rather than fully cooked. Downside is Nu5GC. If you want it, use it the way traditionally it has been served in sausages or in hams, fermented the traditional way. More amazing episodes just like this one. Watch now. So if you're going to cook with an oil, you're much better off cooking with an oil that's going to deliver an additional benefit.